Today's practice begins by turning the focus of our attention to the feeling state of our bodies and being curious about what we encounter without needing to fix or change or interpret. But to notice the physical self, the sensations, and to be in relationship. Not to be the supervisor, not to be the decider of what should be, simply to be in the moment. And whatever we're feeling is acceptable. And whatever we're feeling, we are exploring in relationship. And that relationship is led by the breath. And on our inhalations for this practice, we expand in 360 degrees around the hips. And on the exhalations, we relax the musculature of the body into that space. So expanding in 360 degrees on the inhalation and feeling the physical sensation of relaxation, of the cells responding to gravity and surrendering to it. Science shows that we have 3 centers of activity in the body that are all equally important. The cranial brain, the heart, and the gut. And when we bring our attention to our hip area and bring space and air into this area, we activate the infrastructure that we know digests our food, which actually also can really help digest food by bringing space and air to this space. But it's also wired to help us digest emotions and experience. And so as we relax and release tension into the pelvic bowl can process the tension, extract the nutrients, and eliminate the waste, and provide a service to our whole being that maybe we didn't know was available, but sits in wait all day, every day, ready to receive and process our encounters and engagements with people and events and things, feeling wonderful about them or feeling challenged by them. Dropping them into the pelvic bowl helps us process them in a balanced and healthy way. Sometimes it can be challenging to sit and be still and relax. And this process of expansion in 360 degrees around the hips and relaxing into that space is the most effective I've found to be able to develop a relationship that meets anxiety or jitteriness or any of the states of being that make it difficult to be still. Because when we look at being, there's a broad array of states of being. Just like when we look at activity, there are infinite activities. So for me, there's not a primacy of being over doing. And what I want to invite you to consider is the nature of our being and the nature of our doing as being the interesting parts. Because that which arises naturally from stillness is usually very grounded very aware of broad aspects of situations that the thinking mind doesn't necessarily compute. The thinking mind has certain areas of interest and assessment, but the body has a much broader sensitivity, both to ourselves, our center of gravity, and in relationship to the world around us. The thinking mind likes to think it's really the better assessor of these things. And I was just reading about an experiment with squirt guns, and that the person who draws first is slower than the person who's responding to that draw. And that the person who made a thinking mind decision to initiate, and then the thinking mind is going to try to assess and respond when the opponent takes their gun, their squirt gun. But inordinately often, the person whose body is just responding to the situation is far more efficient than the person that's trying to assess and win. The thinking mind has innumerable wonderful qualities, but it is limited in its ability to relate wholeheartedly with the world, which the body does by design. And as the body's awareness is valued and surrendered into, there can be more grace and flow in the doing that arises from that awareness. Ideally, we are being from our center. We're inspired to do activity, and that activity, in its completion, surrenders us back into a stillness. That's an ancient relationship that has been interrupted by the mind always having a to-do list, always having a next objective. And that's actually a wonderful trait. That's part of our evolution. When it's balanced, when that visioning is part of our joyful creativity instead of a new dictum of how things must be for us to be okay. Our creativity is boundless. But it doesn't all need to be materialized to serve its purpose in our lives. By being aligned with our own center of gravity does have a huge impact on our ability to encounter our lives with balance and peace and curiosity. So this exploration of being and states of being and doing and states of doing, an intention of doing, doesn't have an enemy, doesn't have something we should be doing or something that's wrong. But it does have an opportunity to notice our alignment with our innermost self, our center of gravity that is in relationship with the whole world. And by sitting in stillness and feeling our being and accessing that center of gravity within us, it reveals to us our individual self, our isness. And as we acquaint ourselves with the felt sense of alignment to that isness, that can inform our doing all throughout the rest of the day. It's a sensory experience that we can notice if where we are in relation to it. And that dynamic has been far more effective for me than any amount of strategic planning and to-do lists in making and experiencing life as something alive and dynamic, drawing ourselves into relationship with a world so full of wonder and creativity that there have to be billions of us to be able to experience it all. So thank you for spending this time exploring expansion and relaxation as a foundational element of being with ourselves so that we can be with the world with greater sensitivity and curiosity. Thank you.